Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I had the music up already, didn't realise. Hope you're all well, and hope practice has gone well this week as well. This is the last one before Easter, so hopefully it's been all good so far. Hopefully you got a lot from it. Still plenty more to go, so let's continue. So before we get started, just the usual kind of things. So if you are on a computer or laptop or whatever tablet device you're on, if you've got any social medias or emails or whatever, if you could turn those off, that'd be great. So we get our uninterrupted half an hour. Any phones as well, that'd be good to turn those off. And other than that, we've got the chat function, so if you've got any questions about anything we played so far, please do ask away. There is the slight delay between you asking and the message coming through, so yeah, just fire away as soon as you think of it, really. Okay, so let's get started. So we'll check our tuning to begin with. I actually confess I haven't checked my tuning yet. I did this morning, but not in the last hour or two. So I will play it and I'll adjust if we need to. But here's our bottom E string. So hopefully it all sounds pretty much like that. And then A. That's good. And then D, our fourth string. To G, the third string. That's a little bit sharp actually. And then B, which is our second string. And then finally our top E string. Okay, so hopefully you're all in tune. Remember, there's the tuning video as well, so you can check and watch that if you're not sure of the tuning and that kind of thing. We also need to just recap posture. So again, I'll just move back a little bit. So remember, if you're going for the classical posture, hopefully you'd have footstool of some description. Put your left foot on the footstool and the guitar goes over the left leg and the right leg kind of moves out a little bit, so the guitar just kind of sits really nicely in between the two. If you're not doing the classical posture and you're just going for a more standard kind of contemporary posture, then we'll put the footstool again under the right foot. You don't have to do this, but remember, I think I mentioned before in previous lessons, if you're up on your tiptoes, then having something under your foot to just kind of relax the foot really is a good idea. So yeah, you have your right foot raised, the guitar sits like this, and what we want is to try and have that nice sort of upward slope on the neck. When you're in this posture, you don't get a big upward slope, unlike classical posture where it's really kind of pointing up like 45 degrees or something. This one is much more subtle. What you do want to make sure though is it's not doing that. Another thing to watch out for is, obviously, when you're playing and you're practicing, you might find the guitar tilts away from you like this. Next, if I say to people, "I'll keep the guitar upright," they're like, "Oh, I can't see what my left hand is doing." So, the guitar often ends up at that kind of angle, and that is okay. Certainly to begin with, it's fine. What you'll find is you actually have to reach around a little bit more to get to where your fingers need to get the notes nice and clear. So that's why if we can keep the guitar upright, then we have to work less hard with the left hand, but obviously you can't see quite as easily where the notes are, and so that's the sort of thing that will come with time, hopefully. But you just kind of have at the back of your mind that's what you're aiming for. You might even see people playing guitar where they're actually leaning forward. That's probably, I would say, kind of the easiest way of actually playing, but you can see even less. So that really depends on how confident you are in that as well. So, okay, so let me just move back into position a little bit. So we're going to start off then. We had our warm-up exercise last week as being number 19, Mountain Pass. So we're in 2/4 on this one. It's really just going up and down the notes that we've learnt so far. So this is a really good one just to kind of recap a lot of what we've covered to date. So we'll try it together. Obviously, if you've got any questions from anything we've covered over, well, any of the weeks so far, please do fire away. But in particular, obviously, anything from last week's, particularly number 21 Glider, did feel like it was a little bit more difficult than the others. So it'd be really interesting to hear how you got on. But let's start with Mountain Pass, so number 19. So after 2, nice and slow. Remember, when we get to the end of the second line, we're going to go back to the beginning and play from the start again, and then we just go straight onto the third line. I will count and say note names and things like that as we go. So good luck, everybody. So after 2, Mountain Pass. Here we go. So 1, 2. Beginning. G, A, B, C, D, C, B, A, G, G, A, B, B, C, D, D, C, B, B, A. And the last line, G, G. Okay, jolly good. And as always, if that went well, give yourselves a pat on the back and we will move on. So the next exercise we were looking at then was Annie's Blues, number 20. We talked about this standard chord progression that sounds very blues-like. I'll just give you a quick demonstration actually of, this would be what a blues would sound like, in its sort of most basic form. I'll go a little bit quicker, but just hopefully it'll have that familiar kind of sound. So imagine this tune's going on in the background, so it'd be something like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's our kind of standard 12-bar blues sound. So you might have heard that kind of thing before. Obviously, we're not playing it quite as fast as that, but if I slow that down and we break it down, it's actually pretty much the same as what's on the backing track, which hopefully you've been practicing along with. So anyway, we will have a go. So looking at number 20, the things to watch out for really are just the repeats right near the end. So at the end of bar 12, we're going to go back to the beginning and play the whole thing again, and then we finish with bar 13 there. So there'll be a 4-beat counting. Again, I'll say some of the notes out loud, sometimes some of the timing and teas and coffees and that kind of thing. So let's give it a go. So after 4, so here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. to our last note, A. Okay, jolly good. So that is considerably longer, I think, than most of the other exercises we've played so far. So again, give yourselves a pat on the back if that went well. One of the other things I didn't mention, you may have picked up on, but say for example on that first line, you can actually hold your middle finger down on the note A, certainly for the first 3.5 bars. Obviously in bar 4 we're going to lift it off to get to the G. But yeah, holding it down, even when you're playing that top E, is not a bad idea at all, because it means you don't have to think about where that finger's going back in the first place, and if it sustains through, then you get a little bit of harmony and stuff as the strings kind of sort of ring into each other and sit over the top of each other, and that sounds really nice, and that's kind of one of the characters of the guitar itself, is how notes kind of ring into each other, and you know, and that just sort of brings out the flavour of guitar really. So you can do that on the first line, and you can do it pretty much, I think, in fact, the whole way through the second line. The last line's a bit different. So, but yeah, so if you picked up on that, very well done. That's really good. It's very observant. If not, try it this week and see how you go. But let's move on. So to number 21 and Glider. So this is the one that I wasn't sure whether I might have pitched this a little bit too hard or not. So again, any feedback would be really appreciated. The notes aren't particularly difficult, it's just the speed of it. So as we mentioned last week, we've got the first note's E. So the first note of every beat in the first bar and a half is E. So we're kind of E and then to a note, E to a note, and E to a different note, note, and then E to a different note again, that kind of thing. So hopefully it's been okay. It's the sort of piece of music, sometimes music can look really difficult when you look at it, and actually it's not as bad as you think when you come to play it. However, the proof is always in the pudding, isn't it? So let's give it a go and see how you got on. Again, we are 4 beats in the bar. There's no repeats or anything this time. We haven't got any dynamics to be thinking about, no louds and softs, is what I mean by that. So let's give it a go. We'll take it nice and slow. So if we go, I'll just demonstrate quickly this kind of speed. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that kind of tempo. I can't remember how fast I made the tune on the backing track originally, so that might be a little bit quicker. So if we go a bit slower here now, if that does work out to be slower, then you can always come back and watch this one if you have found this one a bit tricky. Let's give it a go. So after 4, guitars at the ready. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Second line. Rest. Okay, so as always, as with previous ones, if that went well, congratulations and give yourselves a pat on the back. That's it, any feedback, much appreciated. But let's turn the page because we started talking last week about our A minor chord. So before we get on to A minor, we're going to recap the other chords we know. So we've got E minor, so 5th string second with our middle finger, 4th string second with our 3rd finger, strum. Okay, so get the fingers in place after 4, strum all the strings, try and make sure that the third string in particular is nice and clear. So here we go. So 3, 4 and strum. Okay, so that's E minor. So to make it E major, we just add our first finger to the third string at the first fret. So that is obviously the only difference between the two chords. So when we, as we said on the E minor, we want to make sure that third string, the G, is nice and clear. In this case, we want to make sure the third string is really nice and clear still, but obviously it's a different note. We haven't talked about that yet, so we won't worry about what it is. But let's strum away and see how we go. So after 4, so 3, 4, and strum. And that's our E major chord. So to get to A minor, we're going to think of these fingers as a block, and we're going to move them all one string to the floor. So you can move each one sort of individually, that kind of thing. That is fine to do if we're just practicing the movement. However, in the context of a song, we want to be able to just sort of chop and change between them nice and quickly. Obviously, we've only talked about this for a week, so you know, if you're finding that difficult, you're not alone. It usually takes people a while to get to grips with these. And if you have found it easy, then great. You're doing really, really well. So, as we mentioned last time, try and think of it as a block. So, like your fingers are kind of glued in that position, and we just move across. And when we go to A minor, so just to double check, our fingers should be middle finger on the 4th string second, third finger, ring finger on the 3rd string second, and our first finger should be on the 2nd string at the 1st fret. And then we're going to strum from the 5th string in this case. So we're going to try and avoid the 6th string. As I probably mentioned last week, I wouldn't worry too much if you do catch it, but we'll try and avoid it if we can. So we strum like that. So here we go on our A minor after 4. Okay, so 3, 4 and strum. I mean, all those notes nice and clear. So to check, just play each string one at a time. And if you get something like this, for example, then these fingers are a little bit, so you heard the 2 sort of muffled notes at the end. These fingers are just not quite up on their fingertips enough. Particularly if you've got the guitar at this kind of angle, you might find actually that is a bit more difficult because you've got to bring your fingers right round like that. So trying to keep the guitar upright, fingers up on their fingertips, and hopefully you'll get that sound nice and clear. So that was a sort of a precursor to exercise 23. So we'll come back to that in a minute, but what I'd like to do is play number 22 to you, Morning Dew. So 23 is going to be the accompaniment to number 22. And accompaniment, sometimes when I say it to people, they're like, oh, what do you mean by that? And probably the easiest way to think of it is if you've ever seen someone singing somewhere and they've got a guitarist playing with them, the guitarist would be said to be accompanying the singer. The singer's doing the main melody, the bit that everybody's listening to, and the guitar's just playing some chords in the background. I say just playing chords, they might be doing a lot more, but often they'll just be playing chords and just providing that background of sound that allows the singer to shine, as it were. So that's what we mean by that. So in our instance, if you had 2 guitarists, so if you know anyone that plays, you could play exercise 22 and you could ask them to strum the chords in exercise 23, and the 2 should fit together perfectly. So let's have a go at 22 then. There's a couple of things to look out for in it. The first is, well, a few things actually. So we're back in 4/4 timing, so 4 crotchet beats to the bar. The first beat of lines, kind of the even bars, the odd bars. So bar 1, 3, 5 and 7, there's a rest. So you just got to make sure you have nothing going on for beat 1, so don't come in too early on the next notes. So watch out for the rests. And we've got some dynamics, so you can play the first line a little bit quieter and then go a bit louder on the second line. We've also got repeats, so we would play the first line twice, and then when you get onto the second line, we're going to play bars 5 to 9, so they're like our repeat marks, and then we're going to play them again, and then we have the final bar at the end. So I will play it to you and demonstrate, and then I'll put the track on so you can see how that's going to sound. So here we go. So I'm going to count in, so it'll be 3, 4, and then 1, and then I'll start, because the 1 is where the rest is. Okay, so here we go. So 3, rest. D, E, C, A, G, A, rest. D, E, D, D, C, E, B, C. Next line. D, E, E, C, A, rest. D, E, D, E, C. Repeat that bit. Rest. And last bar, 2, 3, and rest on 4. Okay, so let me just find that backing track so we can have a quick listen to it. So let's bring the bring this up onto the screen. Make sure I'm on the right page. So this is Morning Dew, obviously, and here we go. Okay, cool. So hopefully, hopefully you enjoyed that one. I forgot actually, as I was recording that, you might have heard there was some sort of harmony guitar bits going on at places. I think I was having a bit of a Peter Green moment. So if you know Peter Green, he was the original guitarist in Fleetwood Mac. He's like one of the most famous blues guitarists ever. So definitely worth checking out Fleetwood Mac stuff, but it's got to be the early stuff, because once he left they went a little bit more pop and the Rumours kind of album and stuff. So but yeah, early Fleetwood Mac is definitely worth checking out, and sort of Albatross I suppose is probably one of their most famous tracks. So yeah, check that out if you've got time. So that was exercise 22. So exercise 23 was actually played at the same time as well, so we'll have a listen to that again in a second, and I'll point out where the chords are. But effectively, if we look at number 23, how I've written it is we're going to start on an E chord. So we strum, I'll just start playing it. So we go E, 2, 3, 4, then A minor, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4. Then you would repeat that line. So I'm not going to do it because we're a little bit short on time. So you play that line twice. As you come on to the next line, it's exactly the same, except we're going to strum each chord twice. So we're going to go on beats 1 and 3. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And sorry, I didn't do the repeat there. So, but hopefully you get the idea. So when you're practicing this one, in theory, right, what you want to do is we strum the E chord, say on the first line, and we count 2, 3, 4, and change at the last possible second to get to the A minor. That is probably not going to happen if you've never played chords before. So strum, and as soon as you finish strumming, see if over beats 2, 3 and 4, can you get your fingers in place ready for beat 1? So yours may well sound something like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then your fingers are starting to move, 3, 4, and back again, and then you're starting to go again to the next chord. You know, and if you can get those strums in place, then you're doing really well. So don't worry about whether you're not holding it for the full duration or whatever. Chords are more difficult in that respect, particularly initially. So just do as best you can. When you go on to the second line, obviously we're going on beats 1 and 3, so you've got a lot less times change. So you might be like 1, 2, 3, get the fingers moving, 1, 2, 3, get the fingers moving on beat 4, that kind of thing. If you find it really easy, try strumming 4 times per bar. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and A minor, 2, 3, 4, and back to E. Obviously you're going to have even less time, so that's going to be more challenging. So yeah, so that's something to think about. In terms of how to strum, when you're strumming, if you're playing finger style, which is what we have focused on so far, there's not really a right or wrong way to do it as such, in my opinion. So I would say for now, just strum with the thumb, you get a nice kind of soft sound. You could go with the index finger, and if you strike with the index finger, you're going to be striking the strings with the nail, so you get a slightly harsher kind of tone. But you know, it doesn't really matter that much at this stage. Eventually, when you get more confident and comfortable with it, you'll probably do a bit of a mix of both anyway. Or you might even switch to playing with a plectrum, which is a whole different style, which I will cover in these lessons at some point, just a little bit further down the line. So, let me put on the backing track to number 23, and I'll just get the screen up and running, so you can hopefully then hear the chords and where they sound, or how they fit in with the track. So, here we go. This is number 23, so this is the accompaniment. Repeat that line. Okay, so on that particular one, so exercise 23 in the demonstration video, I actually took out the lead line of exercise 22, but I think on the backing track, I put it back in again, so when you're practicing, you have got that going in the background. The other thing I should mention is, as we're strumming away, we're doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then A minor. There's another guitar, I can't remember what I was playing, doing something like that. So try not to be put off by that second guitar part that's filling in the space, and just remember that your part is just on either just beat 1 or maybe beats 1 and beats 3 if you're on the second line of it. So right, so we didn't actually get through quite as much as I'd hoped today, so hopefully I've not waffled on too much, but there's quite a lot of content there. The other thing actually I should just mention, I'm just going to bring that the PDF up again. These, when you see an E chord written like this, all this notation here, this is, you know, that is your 6th string, that lowest note there, and then the next one is the 5th string second and 4th string second. Obviously we haven't covered those notes yet, but you might recognise the E, which is our top E string, and then B, which is the second string. So don't worry too much about what these notes are, you know, because it's looking very busy. Just look at the chord written above. So E, A minor, E, A minor. Same here, E, this one's still E, so we strum the second time, A minor, E, E, A minor, A minor. So we don't change chord until the chord sort of says to be something different. So in this bar it's E until the end of the bar, and then it changes to A minor for that bar, and then back to E. So I hope that sort of makes sense. That was one of the questions that came up a little while ago, like what does what does a chord look like when you see it on notes on the stave? And it's what it looks like in exercise 23. So don't be put off by it. The concept is relatively straightforward. It's just about, can we move our fingers as a block? Also, I should say, I have a habit of doing this when I'm demonstrating. Don't strum here, you always want to be over here. So yeah, pretend I didn't do that. So, right, we will have to finish up there. So, things to practice this week. I would suggest that we go for number 20 as a warm-up. It's quite a long warm-up. That was Annie's Blues, but there's quite a lot of content in it, so it's a good one for that. We obviously have our chords, E minor, E and A minor. We did the new exercises today were 22 and 23, so I focused predominantly on those, but obviously anything else we've done in the past, please go back over that. You know, anything you found difficult, or any that you just enjoy playing. You know, you don't have to just keep doing the new stuff. Do some of the old ones if you enjoy them. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, if you've got any questions, fire away. As I mentioned earlier, this is the last one. I can't believe we're at week 10 already. So this is the last one before Easter. So we're going to take, I'm going to be taking a couple of weeks off. So our next one's actually going to be Thursday the 18th of April. So that's 3 weeks without a lesson. I will obviously drop an email around with the link to it, and I'll do that sooner rather than later so you can get that date in the diary. So that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed the video and the lesson, please do give it a thumbs up. If you've enjoyed the course so far, again, if you made a donation, that's amazing. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, if you can afford to do so, please do. It does just help kind of keep things going. And otherwise, I will see you on Thursday the 18th of April. So have a wonderful Easter, everyone, and I will see you soon. Okay, take care then. Bye-bye.